So my dear students, now we are going to study about the next concept, that is you are having a body in your hand and you are projecting it upwards. Okay. So what happens here is that, so let us take a building, the roof of the building, let it be a point P. Okay. So when you are throwing a body in upward direction, what happens is that it reaches the roof of the building once, let the time be some T1. And later on, what happens is that body, instead of coming down immediately, further it goes upwards and takes some time again to come back to the roof of the building. Let the time be T2. And again from there, it comes downwards. So here, what I am going to say is that we have to consider two different times, T1 and T2. Okay. So what is the T1 and T2? That is nothing but time taken by the body that you have been projected to reach certain point, maybe roof of building. So while it is going in upward direction, okay, it reaches the roof of the building once, and again it goes up and again it coming down. So again in downward direction, again once again it reaches the same point. So let the time be T2. Understood? So we are considering here two different instances. Let me draw the diagram so that you will understand clearly. Okay. So let me say that this is some building. Let this point be P. Point P. Okay. You are throwing a body in upward direction. Now it goes up like this and after some time again comes down. So this is what it happens. Understood, my dear students? Okay. So initially when you are throwing the body in upward direction, let me consider the initial velocity as U. Initial velocity as U. Okay. Since it is going in upward direction, acceleration will be equal to minus g. In upward direction, acceleration due to gravity is minus g. In downward direction, the same acceleration due to gravity is plus g. Okay. So here you are throwing in upward direction. You are throwing in upward. So it is against the acceleration due to gravity, that is minus g. Understood? Now, initially when you are throwing in upward direction, what was the time taken to reach this point P? That is what the question. So let me say that from here to here, the time taken is T1. Understand? So from the basic instant, this is ground, my dear. You have to say that this is ground. Okay. So from this basic instant, the time taken is T1. I hope it is clear. Now, after moving in upward direction, it reaches the maximum height and thereafter again it comes down. It means that if I consider this point again, so from here to here, let this time be T2. From here to here, let this time be T2. So two different times you are taking, right? So point is same. Once during upward journey, I am considering the time as T1. And again during downward journey, I am considering the time as T2. So here what we have to understand is that T1 and T2 are nothing but the times taken by the body that has been projected upwards to reach point P. Whereas T1 is the time taken while moving in upward direction to reach point P. Whereas T2 is the time taken to reach point P while moving in downward direction. Understand? It was clearly mentioned that T1 and T2 are measured from the instant of projection. That you have to keep in mind, my dear. So what is instant of projection? That is what the question. Instant of projection. So the point where you are throwing, that point from where you are throwing, or you have to say projected, the point from where we are projecting. So this is the point from where we are projecting. Projecting means you are applying some velocity. So this point is called as point of projection. Here you see, instant of projection is nothing but the point from where you are projecting it upwards is called as instant of projection. Okay. So from this instant to this point P is T1 during upward journey, and from this instant again to point P is taken as T2, that is during downward journey. So like this we have to consider. Now how to solve this? Children, look at the diagram carefully, T1 and T2, and you tell me what you are going to understand here. If you observe carefully what is happening, the total time taken from this instant of projection again to reach the ground is T1 is nothing, T1 plus T2. This is what I think. Is it clear? So you'll get it out how it is T1 plus T2. Yes or no? So for that, I'll draw once again the diagram. Okay. Look, my dear children. So this place is T1. Okay. So this is building. The time taken from ground or bottom of the building to this point P is T1. Okay, my dear. And again, this is nothing but T2. From here to here it is T2. Can I say that this time and this time both are equal? Can I say like this? Isn't it? Both are equal. Now if you observe carefully, the total time from this instant again to this ground position, what is this? From here to here it is T2. From here to here it is T1. So let me say like this. The total time is nothing but T1 plus T2. T1 plus T2. This is the way I can tell you. Okay. So total time taken for the body which has been projected from the ground again to reach the ground is T1 plus T2. Here I am assuming this time as T1 plus T2 is equal to T. Like this I will assume. Okay. Have a look at this. You can say this as building. Building. B-U-I-L-D-I-N-G. Okay, my dear children. So the total time that is taken here is T1 plus T2. Now I would like to erase this. Okay. So let us write down its basic equation. What is that basic equation? So what is the height of the building? Height of the building is h. Height of the building is h. The basic equation that we know here is that S is equal to ut plus half a into t square. This is what the basic equation that we know. Okay. So here distance traveled is nothing but h, height of the building, u into t, because you are throwing with a velocity u here. Okay. Acceleration that you have taken here is minus g into t square, like this. Like this you will get. Okay. So by solving this, by taking LCM, 2h is equal to 2ut minus gt square, like this you will get. So let us bring this side. So gt square minus 2ut plus 2h is equal to 0. So this is what the equation gets. If you observe carefully, this equation is similar to quadratic equation. That is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. Is it clear? What I am saying is that whatever the equation you got here, this is similar to the quadratic equation. You know it now, quadratic equation. Ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Observe carefully what is happening. In place of t square, there is x square. Understood? In place of t, there is x. So it was very clear that x is equal to t. So whatever I observed, I am going to write here. X is equal to t, whereas x square equal to t square. This is what I observed. If x square equal to t square, then the remaining g is nothing but equal to a. So here, in place of constant a, there is g. Okay. In place of constant b, what you are having here? Minus 2u, and here you are having b. Understood, na? So in place of b, there is minus 2u. Whereas in place of constant c, you are having plus 2h. So like this you are having. Understood? So now I have written what is A, what is B, what is C and what is X. From the basic concept of this quadratic equation which you have studied in your school, 8th, 9th and 10th. Okay. So you have defined the root of X as minus B plus or minus root of B square minus 4AC by 2A. This is the way which you have studied. Okay. So if ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, then how to find its roots? Nothing but x is equal to minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. So this is the way we have studied. Okay. Now let us substitute. In place of x, there is t. Okay. In place of this b, you are having minus 2u. So minus of, in place of being minus 2u plus or minus root over, in place of b square minus 2u square, 4, in place of a it is g, in place of c it is 2h. 2, in place of a it is g. Like this you are having. Okay. So by solving this, minus into minus plus 2u, so 4u square minus 8gh by 2g. Understood now? So here after getting this, why don't you take this 4 as common? If you take this 4 as common, so what I am getting here is that root over 4 into u square minus 2gh, like this will get, and here it is 2u which was divided by 2g. So here root 4 is nothing but 2, so 2 is coming out. 2u plus or minus 2 root over u square minus 2gh by 2g. Okay. So now I can take this 2 as common. 2 as common. U plus or minus u square minus 2gh, okay, by 2g. These two are being cancelled. So what is the final root that you are getting here? That is, what is there here? T, no? So now this, now I have to say that T is equal to u by g plus or minus root over u square minus 2gh by g. Like this I am getting, my dear. So one is plus and another one is minus. So my dear children, previously when I draw the diagram, I told you T1 and T2 are the two times. T1 and T2 are the times which I defined it as time taken for the body to reach point P during upward journey once and during downward journey once. Understood, na? So how I define that? Can you please tell me? T1 is the time taken during upward journey. Okay, it's less time. And T2, what is T2? It has to move to maximum height and again it come back and reaches point P. So it is, the time is more. That is T2. So here you just use your common sense. If I take here plus, the time is more. So I can take it as T2. If I take here minus, the time is less. So I can take it as T1. Understood, na? So in the diagram itself, I told you T1 is nothing but shortest time from ground or projection point to roof of a building. Shortest time. Whereas T2 from ground to point P and maximum height and again coming back to point P. So this is more, no? So T2 is maximum time. If you want to get maximum time, let me take this root here as plus. If you want to get minimum time, let me take it as minus. Is it clear? So here a lot of concepts we are going to study in this question. In this model itself, we are going to study a lot of cases. I hope I can erase this. So this is the answer I got now. I hope I can also erase this. Okay, like this I am getting. So previously I told you that time t is equal to t1 plus t2. This is what I told you. If I consider point P here, from here to here I assume the time is t1, and from here to here I assume time as t2. It was very clear that t2 is greater than t1. So that is the reason why this plus means you are getting maximum time. So if I take plus, let me assume it as t2. If I take this minus, let me assume it as t1. Okay. So therefore t1 is equal to u by g minus of root over u square minus 2gh by g. Like this I can take. Whereas t2, u by g plus root of u square minus 2gh by g. So it was clear that for t1 here it is minus. It means the time taken is less. Whereas for t2 here it is plus. It means that here the time taken is more. So now we got the two times t1 and t2. Okay. So the final time is nothing but t is equal to t1 plus t2. So this is what the basic idea that you got from this particular concept. Now let us go to following cases. Okay. So first thing is that we have to find sum of the roots. A. Sum of roots. So the roots here we got is t1 and t2. So it is t1 plus t2. So we have to add these two. If I add these two, directly I am telling you, my dear children, here this is minus and this is plus. If I add these two here, what happens? This minus part and this part will be cancelled. So here u by g and u by g, only two are left. So the answer will be 2 times of u by g. Okay. So the sum of the roots t1 plus t2 is equal to 2u by g. I told you clearly that this t1 plus t2 is nothing but t. Okay. So this t1 plus t2 is nothing but t. So this is the answer. Sum of the roots. Now second case is that you have to find u. What is this u? Velocity of projection. So find out the velocity of projection. It means you have to find this u. From the basic idea, what we can say is that if t1 plus t2 is equal to 2u by g, then what is u? So let us move this 2 by g to other side. If 2 by g is moving to other side, it can be written as g by 2 into t1 plus t2. So this is the way I could write. So the velocity of projection is g by 2 into t1 plus t2. Okay. Now next one. Product of the roots. Here we have found out some of the roots. Now we are going to find out product of roots. That is t1 into t2. So it was very clear what is t1 and what is t2. Okay. So you have to multiply these two. So my dear children, just observe these two equations. If you observe these two equations, this is in the form of a minus b and this is in the form of a plus b. So t1 is nothing but u by g minus u square minus 2gh by g. This is what it was given here. Whereas t2 is u by g plus u square minus 2gh by g. So like this you got the answers. What I am saying is that for our understanding purpose and for easiness, let us assume this one as alphabet A and this one as alphabet B. So now it is in the form of A minus B. Whereas the same thing u by g as A and this part as B. But here plus is there. So you have to write this one as A plus B. If I want to multiply these two, A minus B into A plus B, which you have studied in your school education, 7th or 8th. So what is A minus B into A plus B? So which is nothing but A minus B into A plus B, which is nothing but A square minus B square. Like this you will get. So instead of doing everything, why don't we write directly? Okay. If you write it directly, you can save some time. So here T1 into T2 is nothing but A square minus B square. So let me write here. Therefore, T1 into T2 is equal to A square. So what is A here? U by G. So U by G whole square minus of B square. So this part is B square. That is U square minus 2GH by G comes under B square. So now we have to solve everything to find out what is T1 into T2. Okay. So now let us find out this T1 into T2. Okay. So here it is in the form of A square minus B square, right? So this is A U square by G square. Look at inside here, U square minus 2GH by G whole square. So what you could do here is that U square minus 2GH whole square by G square. Can write like this? Because it is in the form of A by B whole square. You can write as A square by B square first of all. Later on, you could go for proper simplification and solving this. What we get here is that T1 into T2 is equal to 2H by G. This is what you will get it. Okay, my dear children? So now based upon this, you could find, we have to find out the H value. So from this, what is H? Let us move 2 by G to other side. You get it as G by 2 into T1 into T2 is equal to H. So this is what is the height of point P. This is what is the height of point P. So right now we have found out 4 different things. One is sum of the roots, isn't it? T1 plus T2. From there we found out the velocity of projection U, and later on we found out the product of the roots T1 into T2, and from there again we found out the height of point P. Okay. So now fifth case. What is the maximum height, the body that has been projected? What is the maximum height of the body that has been projected? So how we have to find out? So initial cases, we have studied that the maximum height formula is given by U square by 2G. Okay. So what is the value of U? Previously I told you that U is equal to half G into T1 plus T2. So this is case B that we have found out. In case A, we have found out sum of the roots T1 plus T2 is equal to 2U by G. And next we have found out the product of the roots, that is T1 into T2, that is 2H by G. In the next case we have found out the H is equal to, what is that, half G T1 into T2. So these are things we have found out for today. And now the next one that we are going to find out is H max. What is the maximum height that the body has been reaching? Okay. So U, from here I will take U as half G into T1 plus T2 whole square by 2G. So this is what I will take. So here in the numerator you are having G and this is G. Okay. Yeah. So this one also must be square now. So this complete part half G into T1 plus T2, this complete part must be whole square. So what I get here is that half square, that is 1 by 4 G square T1 plus T2 whole square, okay, which was again divided by 2G. This is what I am getting. So this G has been cancelled. 4 is coming down. So this will become 8 G into T1 plus T2 whole square. So finally the maximum height that was reached by the projected body is given by 1 by 8 times of G into T1 plus T2 whole square. Understood? So the last case is that we have to find out the velocity of the body which has been thrown at a point P. You people think that, sir, we are having velocity U. Of course, that U velocity is at the starting point. But my interest is not at maximum height, not at starting point. My interest is that at some point P where you are finding. Okay. At that point, what was the velocity? You are throwing a body with the velocity U. That part I don't want. It is going like this. That also I don't want. We have defined now there is some point P where the time taken is T1. At that point, okay, I want to find out the velocity. So how we will find out the velocity? In order to find out that, we need a diagram, clear diagram. So my dear children, you better take a screenshot of this one. Okay, what we are saying is that there is a point P here somewhere. Okay, roof of the building. They have defined like this. A body is proceeding with the velocity u. Let this point be somewhere like A. Okay, this is point P. So let us say that the velocity at point A is equal to u. So here we have defined that the time taken is t1. Initially I have defined this. Now my interest is that what is the velocity at this particular point P? How to find out this velocity? So since a body is thrown in upward direction, you have to take A as minus g. You should not forget this when it is thrown in upward direction. How to find out this? Again, we have to come back to the basic formulas, basic things. So kinematic equation. We are having 4 different equations now. Say that first equation. V is equal to u plus at. Okay. So wait. Here I'll write. Okay, my dear children. So my journey is from this point A to point P. So A to P. So I should write this point A as initial, P as final. So what is the equation? V is equal to u plus A into t. Okay. So this initial is A and final is P and time taken from A to P. Clear now? So now this velocity at point A is u only, acceleration is minus g, time from A to P is t1. We are interested to find out this velocity at point P. So how to find out? Okay, this is sufficient. But in the multiple choice given, you don't have this answer. So what you will do? It will be in T1 and T2. So take this u. So I have to take this u and I have to substitute here. That is half g T1 plus T2. This is the value of u minus g T1. So what I am going to get here is that g T1 by 2, g T2 by 2 minus g T1. So this is plus and this is minus. So what happens between these two? So you will get minus g T1 by 2. G T2 by 2 minus g T1 by 2. So this is what you are going to get. So this is the velocity. If you take this g by 2 as common now, so you get the final answer. If you take this g by 2 as common, you can write it as T2 minus T1 into g by 2. So this is what the velocity at point P. So finally, in this case, the velocity at point P is g by 2 into T2 minus T1. Okay, my dear children? I hope you understood this. If any doubt you are having, you just go back and once again look at what I am saying here. Okay? You will understand it. Have a screenshot of this.